beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold, but things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I have today.
Good morning, good morning. Hello, this is 1100 WSG. I'm U-Turn LaVern. This is One Street Over. What's happening one street over from where you live in? We're going to check in with StayPositive.news. Nick Hartman's coming in today to talk to us about that. You know, we'll probably be talking a little bit about his church. He's a youth minister. And we will just talk about all kinds of fun things today. So we're looking forward to doing that. And, you know, I'd said something about the principals yesterday, and I keep forgetting we had the 1st of October was on a Wednesday. So we visited with our principals last week on Wednesday, and that's how we're, you know, have the reoccurring guests. We want to check in with all the principals across Robertson County before the school year ends, and we're working to do that. And that's going to be on the first Wednesday of the month. Now, I was talking to Dr. Tucker. He had texted me. We're going to try to get him rescheduled. There was a little confusion. He was supposed to be on last week, so we're going to work to get him in. I've reached out to Dr. Weeks to see if we can get him in for a half hour tomorrow, just to kind of give us an update on what happened at the school board meeting, because that happened on Monday night. It was normally they go the second Monday, but because fall breaks next week, they had their meeting they had their meeting Monday night. So they moved it up. So when those schedules change, we have to adjust what we do in here. So just bear with us. We'll get everybody in. But we do look forward to talking to Nick. He got caught in a little bit of traffic. Yesterday, you couldn't use the excuse of getting behind a bus, but today you can, and I almost did. But you got to slow down when those buses are in front of you. My husband actually is driving one of those buses right now. He gets out. That's why we get up so early. People say we get up at 3:30. And we get up and we walk, and he heads out. I think he picks his first kid up at 5:45 a.m., and that's a Coopertown Middle. So these kids, this staggered start and the way that you've got buses on the road so early. I think there's buses out earlier than that possibly. But the reason why they're so early is because we're so understaffed with our buses. We have to stagger the start times on the schools to accommodate everybody, to get everybody where they need to be. So I say all that to say, if you would like to drive a bus, and guys, if you're a teacher, my husband's teaching at Springfield. He's one of the criminal justice teachers. So he goes and he picks up middle school route, delivers them to Coopertown. Then he gets the high schoolers and delivers them at his high school. And then he goes in and teaches. Then his planning block is the very last block, so he can go get the middle schoolers, get them home, and then pick up the high schoolers and take them home. It is a way to help out the school system, help out the buses and the transportation department. You're not having to spend your gas to drive to school, extra income. I'm telling you, teachers, I can't believe more teachers are not tapping into this. If I weren't doing the radio show, I would probably do it. But I like doing the radio thing, so I'm going to keep doing this. But if you have any, room in your schedule to do that, it is really a great way to make some extra income, to really help out the school system, and to get to know some wonderful kids. I just say this all the time, and I mean it so sincerely. Being able to, something was mentioned about the election yesterday, and that was the office I ran for, 9-10 years ago. And I got to be honest with you, greatest blessing is the fact that I didn't win, because, come on in, Nick, because God opened up a way for me to be in the schools, and I love these kids so much. They just bless me every day that I get to be in the classroom. And that's not to say there's not stressful things. The things that we do in the school system, a lot of the paperwork and all the bureaucracy and all that kind of stuff, That's a little exhausting. But loving on these kids and getting to be a part of their life and encourage them, wow. I just am so thankful I get to do that every day. Nick's here. What you doing?
Oh, just rolling in.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yes, I have not had the coffee yet, but I'm here. I'm excited, and
You got to start getting up earlier.
I do
on.
normally. The problem is it depends on our kids' sleep schedule.
Sure. How many kids do you have?
I got two, so a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and so.
That's a lot. God
Anytime,
bless you.
and a 20-minute drive over here, it always ends up, I got to cut something, sometimes that coffee. Oh, I know.
I'm just teasing you.
I know.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful to visit with you. We tried to get you guys on again before y'all had your event.
Yes.
And man, there was a couple of weeks there. We had not a free second because everything was hitting in the fall. It was just that moment of the year that we had fair and we had just all the fall events coming up, because a lot of people try to get that stuff in at the end of September before October hits, because October, it just gets crazier.
Yeah.
With family, everybody has their family stuff, and you just have all the things, all the things. And speaking of all the things, let's remind everybody that the Chili Challenge for Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center is a week from tomorrow. No, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow, because that's the same day as my son's wedding in Huntsville. And it's the only reason I won't be there, but I'm hoping you will be, as long as you don't have a wedding to go to. But got to do the wedding thing. But it's going to be just an amazing opportunity to help support Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center, an organization that is changing our community from the inside out, and that is how we make a difference, y'all. If you want the world to change, you've got to want to change the world. If you want to change the world, it means you got to get your hands dirty. You got to get in there and be a part of it, right?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, buddy. So, today, Nick is here. Tell them about your church and where you work and all of that. Tell them about your day job, and then we'll talk about the side gig.
Yes.
There you go. The reason he's here. Talk about the side gig.
So full-time, serve as associate pastor of students and discipleship at Mount Carmel Baptist Church in Cross Plains. So 25 all the way over to 49, and then or if you're going to Springfield back, 49 to 25. Come from White House, interstate or the back roads, whatever. But I've been there almost 5 years and love doing it, and love seeing. I heard you talk about students coming in and being with the students. I mean, there's just, there is a real spiritual renewal that's happening right now among young people, and so it's a fun generation to work for and work with, and their parents are eager to, see them continue to grow in the Lord. And a lot of them are bringing their parents to church versus them bringing, the kids to church. So it's a really cool thing, and it's a blessing. And then on the side, I get to work with Stay Positive News and get to share the positive stories that are going on here in Robertson County, and have some fun with some of our great people here in Robertson County. So, yeah.
And that is the big key, and we've talked a lot about this, but you become whatever you consume, and we know that about our food and the things like that. Well, the same thing is said about what you consume when it comes to media. And I mean, these things, we want you to share this, we want you to see this, we want you to present this, because we all like the distraction of being able to get on a screen and just have something that we can kind of check out and just relax for a minute. But we've got to be so careful about not feeding ourselves with all the negativity and all the just poison out there that is coming into to our system. And it's a choice you make. You can choose to watch that stuff, you can choose to listen to that, or you can lean over and go see what's positive in the world that can help lift you up and give you just more optimism, for what's out there. We were getting ready to, we've got midterms this week, because everybody's ready. We're like ready for fall break, and so we're getting ready for our midterms. And I was kind of going over some content with the kiddos about what to expect on their midterm test, and something that I put on I have a list of kind of technology questions and just very basic audio video type things that I test them on from their freshman, from their AV1s to all the way AV3s again and again and again, because it's stuff, if they're going to go through the program, they need to know. Well, there's something that I heard actually from a minister, and he was not liking this, but for me, from a technology perspective, it really drives home how important staying with an understanding of this stuff is it's called the knowledge doubling curve. Have you ever heard this?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes. There's been a lot of new books that have come out about, helping parents and others navigate,
'Cause
not
it's-
making sure that your phone's the one that runs you, those
right.
kind of different things.
Turning
So
off
yes.
notifications.
Yep.
Don't have notifications on anything. And I know that's like, but what I need calendar reminders. No, you need to use this as a tool and go and open your calendar and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Rather have a discipline of checking your schedule rather than having your phone tell you, oh, it's time, it's time. You got to turn those notifications off, and you have to turn them all off. And my husband, he just was like, well, what if somebody's texting me and and I'm like, turn them off. Turn them off, turn them off, turn them off. But anyway, the knowledge doubling curve states that, and again, this is all theory, but it says that if something, let's say somebody has a cure for cancer, okay, or something that's innovative. Before 1900, how long do you think it would have taken for it to span the world? What do you think in theory? This is theory again, but it
Yes.
makes sense because if you think about how they communicated, you'd have to write a letter. They didn't have telegraph. You would have to write a letter. It would have to go on a ship and be taken across the ocean, and hopefully there wasn't a shipwreck. And then it would have to be, handed.
Yeah. Duplicated and
Yeah.
handed. Yeah. So,
So-
I mean, you're talking many, many months to
Well, they're
years.
saying 100 years.
100
really,
years,
for
yeah.
something that would cover and span the globe prior to 1900.
Yeah.
Now it's hours.
If
and
that.
sometimes even that, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that, I tell my kids, I said, everybody's telling you the world is terrible. It's falling apart. I said, it's been falling apart since the fall. I don't say that, but I said, because I can't preach. But I say it's been that way since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And every generation has their thing. I grew up in the Vietnam era.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how we felt about that. That's when we were, we were in the cold. We were doing drills under our desk in case Russia bombed us.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. So it is what it is, and it's just always been this way. And this is an amazing time. But you've got to conquer it. You can't let it conquer you.
Oh, yeah.
AI and all the things.
Mhm.
You got to learn to use it to keep the positive side. And I say all that to set up staypositive.news is a piece of that. And you control what you go and see. You control when you pick this up and what you get drawn into. And that means you have to follow them. You have to seek them out.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. And, I mean, just to speak to that, like when the news cycle a month ago was just so heavy, right? Especially
right.
as a young person
Right.
who
It's very
in a
hard.
culture that,
Yeah.
and not just internationally, not just nationally, but even locally, right? I mean,
Oh,
there
yeah.
were substantial things that were happening in our own community and
Mm-hmm.
in your school, and all of that was piling up. And it's like young people, it's like, I just want to turn my phone off for
Yeah.
48 hours and not deal with it. And it's like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do sometimes. You're supposed to take rest away from that. And part of taking rest away from the difficult news that is the reality of the world is also enjoying some positive things that are happening. And that's kind of the heart behind Stay Positive News. I mean, I know your listeners have heard that, you've heard that, but yeah, it was quite cleansing to be able to go on to Stay Positive News and read other things that had come from people in this area. Like, one of the most popular stories was the Community Walk for Carol, about a 5K movement that came out of one person and her fight with. Let me verify this real quick. But yes, it was a 5K walk through an undifferentiated pulmonary sarcoma. So, bad things, but a huge neighborhood walk around her. And there's a beautiful picture of just everybody coming around her to support and all of that. And those kind of things where it's like, man, these people are coming to serve and navigate these difficult things together. And, books that have been published in our community and all sorts of other amazing projects, foreign exchange students, just so many great stories that are happening on Stay Positive that is just really great. And I would say, hop on there every other day and see what's new, because there's some really cool things that are being published. And I know stories get published a couple times a week. So, yeah.
Well, and I was talking with the city manager in White House yesterday, and he mentioned that they were, they had their new rec center, and I
Yeah.
was so tickled to see that y'all actually have a story on that, because that gave me an opportunity to be able to kind of see a little bit about it, because I've heard so many things, and so I thought, well, that's really cool that you guys. Because I was talking with City Manager Jerry Herman, and he had said that, hey, this is one of the big things that happened since we last spoke. And I saw whenever I got on Stay Positive About News, I'm like, oh, there's the ribbon cutting ceremony and the new rec center and all about that. And so that's cool. And it's just those good stories that you just kind of get reinforced. You just never know what you're going to find when you get on to StayPositive.news. All the cool stories that are out there. And of course, we always have Miss Mabel.
Oh yes,
Mabel, we
and
love
Miss
Miss
Mabel, we got a
Mabel.
behind the scenes look into her life here recently with some questions and some I don't know if you got to read that one, but
I
it
haven't had a
was.
chance to read it, but I thought maybe you might have.
I do
an
have
update
some
for us.
insight,
Okay.
yes. So Miss Mabel people are like, who is Miss Mabel? Who is this
Who
person?
is this person?
We're not going to tell you who the person is, but it's Miss Mabel. And she just had some good insight on different things. Our writers asked her a bunch of different questions. I asked what her proudest achievement was, and she had a whole banter about, things that. But her big point was, I can't think of anything greater than adding more good people to the world. And so, whether that be from her family or whether that be from, just helping others. And so, they thought that was a good sentence from her is, can't think of anything greater than adding more good people to the world. But,
Amen.
Nikki, one of our writers, asked, how do you handle taking your own advice?
That's always hard.
Yeah,
That's
it's
always hard.
the point she made was, just know that Miss Mabel has done some dumb things, still does dumb things, and will likely continue to do dumb things until I pass on. So just remember, try to make the right decision, not the wrong decision, was kind of what she got to. And she has, made some right choices along the ways too. So
Well, but she's saying it's always a choice. And
Yep.
it's something you have. It's that discipline. It's that discipline that
Absolutely.
you have to have, and it's something that you have to work at every single day. So
yeah, and one of a couple other good questions. What's one thing your readers wish you knew about you? And the big thing was, she's real brave to tell it like it is in the call-in, but if caught me out in the real world, I wouldn't likely have much advice to throw around. So,
okay.
kind of that's an interesting. It's kind of a real moment into Miss Mabel's life, and reminding us that it's one thing to be behind the screen, keyboard warriors that we call them, and it's another thing to come out and be willing to kind of figure out who that is. And so that's the hard part about Miss Mabel's got great advice, but I think she's even like, hey, I got to work on my courage a little bit out there and in the community. So those were some of the things. And then a funny question: what year were you born? She said 5 years after the war. And then, what war? That's really none of your business. And that's how the article ended. So,
That's
we really tried to get, you got some good personal questions, but then when you try to get into Miss Mabel's real life, she's like, bye.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there. Got to leave a little bit of mystery.
Yes.
But I love that point about it's one thing. You see so many people brave when they get on these. We started talking about how we've got to control these things and not let them control us, and we have got to remember that that one thing, that what you do on these tablets and on your social media. Some of the things that you'll say, and would you say that to them personally? Would you be, because so many people can be so hateful.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what in the world? That's one of the reasons you don't see me a lot on social media. I post the show and I share stuff from my sponsors and my kids and different things like that. But I don't know, and I share a lot of spiritual stuff because that's just where my head is right now and my heart. And I don't know. I think that's where I should have been all along. But I don't get into the political stuff anymore. I just I don't know. I don't know why we have to be so hard on each other. And like Miss Maple said, what would you do when you're face to face with
Yeah.
somebody? And that's the key. And also being bold and being willing to stand up and say the truthful, hard things, but in the love of Christ. You
Yeah.
know, that's the
Yeah.
big thing. And you know, that's one thing I see when I read what I'm reading from you guys. I see Jesus all over it. And I don't think
There's
that's
a
an
lot
accident.
of threads
Yeah.
that, we're not,
Yeah.
Sarah and our team, we've never been, hey, we're only pursuing the stories that have,
Yeah.
that involved. But there are a lot of, the traits that we're highlighting are generosity.
Yes.
We're highlighting community support. We're highlighting, people who are doing things for a reason, right? A mission behind it, and kindness. That's a huge thing. Where do those traits happen most? Is often with life changes in the Lord, and so it is a unique thing. I think probably I've written now close to 16 or 17 stories for them in the last year and a half. And I think out of those 16 or 17 stories, we're talking maybe, 14 of them have some sort of thread back to what Jesus has done in their life. And so that's really cool. Again, it's not every single story. It's maybe one in every three that we have, but, there's a neat thread there that connects a lot of people's back to their walk with the Lord or their spiritual journey. And it's kind of neat.
Well, and you being a youth minister, it's just logical.
Oh, yeah.
That's absolutely the direction you're going to go. We're talking with Nick Hartman, and he is the pastor at
Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel Baptist Church. And how many kiddos do y'all take care of there? How many do y'all have in your crowd?
We do. The Lord's been very faithful recently, and we average between 60 and 70 students a week.
60 and 70?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
that's
and
awesome.
I got about that's a Wednesday night. Sunday mornings closer to 35, but I have a great crew of adult leaders because I cannot do this by myself.
Right.
And so we have between Sundays and Wednesdays about 17 adult leaders who pour into young people. And then our church runs around 300, and God's been really faithful there. We've seen a lot of new families in Cross Plains because of all the new building that's happening around here. And so but yeah, God's
You're
been
a young church then.
Yes,
but
we
that's
do.
beautiful.
Yeah. We're 131 years in the community, but we are very much younger in terms of young couples and all of that. And I lead our young couples group on Sunday, and it's been growing really quickly. So a lot of it's hey, consistency matters. That's one of the things when we got here, we were running 20, and it was just needed some faithfulness and trust from people. And we get to celebrate things like our East Robertson Middle School football team, and the Heritage Middle School football team had an insane game last night. I don't know if you heard about this, but they went into 4 overtimes, and
They were playing against
each other for the TMSAA championship. This is the third time in the last 5 years that it's been them two in the championship.
Is this a middle school?
Middle school.
Okay,
yeah.
I was going to say
East Robertson
it had
Middle
to have
School.
been a middle school because I was going to say okay. So oh wow.
And Heritage Middle School. And they were at Greenbrier Middle last night playing and went into 4 overtimes. And both teams laid every bit of effort they had on the field. It's one of those times where it's like you wish both teams could have won.
Yeah.
But East Robertson ended up winning. We have several students on the East Robertson Middle School team and Heritage Middle School team.
Oh, wow.
But that was East Robertson's 5th middle school championship in a row that they've won, which is insane. But just 4 overtimes is amazing, and both teams gave it so much effort.
Wow.
And it was just a really cool kind of testament to, how good our not just athletic programs, but our young people are in our community. So
I love it.
Yeah.
4 overtimes.
4 overtimes. Those parents got home late, so I don't know how
they did. How exciting.
Yeah, so those little things that happen, and a lot of cool stories that come out of those things. So
that's cool. Well, congratulations, East Robertson and Heritage, for fighting so hard. That's great. I love our kid athletes, and I just wish they could all be winners and all. It's just so hard.
It's good lessons to learn,
like the coaches, God bless you.
Oh yeah.
Man, it's hard. That's a hard journey trying to navigate those waters. So just a lot of love for our athletes, for our coaches, and all those that pour into our kids in the athletic programs. Because I mean that's a commitment. And guys, they don't pay the coaches much. They really don't. Not for the time that they
Yeah.
spend. There's no way.
No.
And everybody's like, well, they're paying them. Yeah, very, very little. Very, very little. And so just really hats off to all of those. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
cool.
cool
Yeah.
thing that, in our community that is, and there's a lot of good athletes in our community. I have a story that's coming out this week actually that is, I don't know if you know the name Maddox Batson, but he is,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he grew up in this area, went to East Robertson, moved to Alabama, started pursuing country music, and has now become a very well-known name, up and coming. He's in the
Okay.
top list of up and comers, been opening for Lainey Wilson, and so he, in his newfound success, decided, the friends that he had still here, he wanted to donate equipment to the golf team, and so he
Okay.
donated new bags and some. There's a brand called Good Golf that he donated some gear to the East Robertson golf team. So giving back from a place of
Awesome.
where he's kind of seen some success. So
cool.
that's forthcoming, and that's a really exciting kind of thing. So, one of the questions Sarah sent me to talk about was maybe one of my favorite subject. What's your favorite subject to read on Stay Positive, or when you see things, you're like, because we all know there's a lot of news that always pops up on our timelines, right?
Yeah.
I'm a Stay Positive writer, and I would love to say that I read every single article that comes across. I don't. And that's not because I don't love what our other writers are doing. We're all busy, right? And so that's part of the reason why we try to keep the articles short and all of that. But when I see certain headlines, I'm like, I want to read that. So what have you seen anything, LaVern, that you read and enjoy reading?
Anything that seems like somebody's overcome an obstacle,
Yeah.
that's going to draw me in. If I see somebody that's just, overcome difficulty and is just standing strong, anything that's military connected, I'm drawn into. As I was looking through stories, there, I have a very diverse. There's just all kinds of things. The story in Portland about the free Wi-Fi, I'm like, well, that's cool,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, and so just the different things like that. But anything that's an overcoming story, if it's something that's pouring into the community, if I recognize somebody in it, if I was like, oh, I know them,
Yeah.
I'm gonna open that for sure. But overcoming type things,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, I got to mention the Wi-Fi thing because of technology. That always grabs me too,
Yeah.
But and Miss Mabel, I
Yeah,
love
of
Miss
course.
Mabel. Love Miss Mabel.
She's
Yeah.
a sweetheart,
Yeah, exactly.
No, I love to. I have been able to share a very variety of stories. Early on, there was a lot of sports things that I shared, which was kind of interesting because I grew up writing about sports. But recently, I've been able to share a lot of some really unique stories of one young man in a White House Heritage student who is pursuing a political career, which is
Okay.
and things have been going well there. And
What's it? What I'm curious.
his name is Jermaine Cole, and he is actually was a community advocate as a part of like the Antioch when Antioch went through their school shooting and their tragedy there.
Yeah.
He was able to step in and kind of serve as a bilingual advocate in that moment, so that was kind of neat. And then he's kind of growing and moving into helping with like the Young Democrats, which is kind of neat. So and then after him, was a story on our I got to share a little bit about the Robco weather, which I know we all do a lot of, and Jason over there, and then Sumner severe weather as well. And there's a story kind of on how those backgrounds and their broadcasts align. in the middle of Mackenzie Lowe is the one who does Sumner severe weather. So that was a fun one because
Oh yeah.
I'm a weather nerd, so like I got to know Jason a little bit, and now anytime there's weather, we kind of text through like
got
what's
like an
going on. It's
inside
like
scoop.
it's not just the inside scoop. It's like, hey, do you see rotation? I see rotation, and it's like
That's
you
fun.
know. So Jason and I have gotten to know each other pretty well there, and then I got to share a really neat story on a Labrador that's doing some therapy work
Okay.
in Sumner County, and then most recently, before the one that's coming out, there's a newer community member in Cross Plains, Braxton Hamilton, who has worked with the military during the war in Afghanistan to help go rebuild businesses,
Oh wow.
and is just published a memoir on that. The memoir is incredible, and it was a fun story to write.
bet.
So
Uh-huh.
those were some of my recent ones, but I love to write. Of course, I like to write about young people because and that was one of the most unique experiences. Of the very first story that I wrote actually had two students from my youth group involved in the karate finale that they were running to, and that was a really unique thing for me. Was like, whoa, this is kind of affirmation. This is what I need to be doing, So yeah,
Sure. I love it. And God will just give you those little winks. It says, yep, you're on the right track.
yeah,
So I love that. I love that.
yeah,
And you also have, you're talking about ones that draw me in. If I'm flipping through and something's like a community calendar kind of thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love those.
yeah.
And that's been super helpful. It helps me with, knowing what I need to get on the show too, if I have upcoming events that I know about. You actually included my friend. Let's just go ahead and let me do one of my ads here.
There we go.
You mentioned my friends over at Bernard Farms Custom Cuts and Market because they've got Fall on the Farm coming up on Saturday. And we really want to get you out for that. If you have never met Julie and Steve, Bernard and Tate and Tanner, I mean, just a great family. We love them so much and love that they're sponsoring the show now. But they've got Fall on the Farm that's coming up this weekend. And it is an opportunity for you to come out and just enjoy all the fun things that they have on their farm. They'll have all kinds of kid activities, seasonal activities. They're going to have of course, the store will be open and you can come in and see all the great things they have. My computer is not wanting to refresh for me right now, so I can pull all the stuff up. But it's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and it's this Saturday. It's going to be the annual Fall on the Farm Festival. You're going to have live music. Again, they're going to have all their custom cuts that they have in the store. If you're not familiar with them, they grow their pork and their beef, and then they process it and put it out in the store for you to purchase. And it is just a great time. You're going to have, again, live music this Saturday, Bounce House, Corn Pit, Shop the Farm Store, free hay rides, all kinds of vendors. Doesn't cost a penny to go in. If you go to Bernard Farms Custom Cuts and Market, and I've been trying to share some of these, they've had some vendor spotlights, so you'll know some of the vendors that are going to be there. But you can go and check that out. They are at 7536 Clay Gregory Road in Orlinda. 7536 Clay Gregory Road in Orlinda. If you have questions, you can call them at 615-637-0004. 615-637-0004. And again, this is from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. It's a free event. Going to have a lot of fun. They were actually out in Adams at the festival where they were doing, Steve was showing people how to twist tobacco, which is a lost art. It used to be something that everybody could do. And him and Tanner were there twisting tobacco and showing people how to do it. I have a feeling you'll probably, see a little bit of that with Steve on Saturday as well. But Fall on the Farm, I asked Julie, I said, what do you want me to talk about? She says, Fall on the Farm, Fall on the Farm. So come out and see them. Be a part of it. It's at 7536 Clay Gregory Road in Orlinda, 9 to 3 on Saturday. Your chance to come out and see all the wonderful things they're doing at Bernard Farms Custom Cuts and Market. And when you get out there, y'all, and they're open right now. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 3 p.m. And so you want to get out and see them, you can go in. And actually, it was 4 p.m., 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. You can go have breakfast right now. You can go grab lunch, grab one of their pork burgers. So good. And
I was going to say that. Those pork burgers
aren't they delicious?
Oh, yes.
We went out there a couple of times over the summer and had lunch with them. Just love it. And we have to be careful because we'll get in there and we'll talk to Julie for 2 hours and she doesn't get any work done, and neither do we. So, but I go in there, I just want to sit and talk,
Yes.
you know, but she's so fun.
And if that's your first time driving to Orlinda, just know that when the barns are putting out white smoke, that's normal. Don't be calling anybody for that. If you see black smoke or flames, call.
It's so funny. My brother-in-law, I'd love to tell this story on him, from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. When we moved to Robertson County, he's a pipe fitter. And so when we were putting our house together, and our house was moved from, we bought it from Airport Authority because we had to, our deed for our, even though we live on 43 acres, the deed said you could not have a construction trailer. You couldn't have anything that didn't have a foundation. So we had to have instant living space. So we bought this house in 2 sections, and LaRue House Moving moved this house in, and we built the foundation. Of course, we have renovated it and added on to it and done all kinds of things to it. But it was structure you could live in that we had to have instantly. But my brother-in-law came down to put all the piping in because we had like days to do this. And so they come in and they're driving down 49 and they topped the hill, and one of the barns was just smoke rolling out of it. And he was like, "There's a barn." I mean, he was like the farmer, you know. I used to tell it that he was banging on the door, and he says, No. He goes, "I pulled up and they were in a truck." And he said, I said, the barn's on fire. And he goes, looked at him kind of like he's crazy and said, "That's a back of barn. It's supposed to smoke." And David said, "I'll never again get involved in that," because he sounds like he's not from around here, my brother-in-law, because they're from, they sound, their accent's not a Michigan accent. It's like, you remember Sarah Palin?
Of course,
They sound like her. That kind of, you know, that's kind of, I don't know, it's a weird
Northerner,
accent.
Northwest, weird
weird accent.
The Northerner and Midwest combo. That's quite the...
Not like anything you ever, you know, it's very unique. But anyway, don't call the fire department. They're tobacco barns.
Just enjoy the smell.
Oh, and I love it. Mm-hmm. For sure. They said...
That was one of the things when we moved here. We visited in October, and there was still some barns smoking. And they were like, don't worry. And we're like, we're not worried, you know. I grew up in... Northwest Missouri, and so while there wasn't necessarily smoking tobacco up there, tobacco was still Weston, Missouri is pretty well known for tobacco. So been around the crop for a while, but it's neat to see it done here in the way that it's done.
Right before the Ukraine war started, my friends from missionaries, friends of ours from Ukraine that are from there, I mean, they were here, Natasha and Sasha, and we were trying to find the smoking barns for them. And I ended up getting a tobacco twist for Sasha, and he was just like fascinated, you know. And I'm sure it's one Steve did, but it was so funny. We were trying so hard. I was trying to explain to them the smoking barns, and I couldn't find one. And I finally found them some video of one.
Yeah.
And they were like, "What in the world?" But it was quite interesting. Nick Hartman's here. He is from StayPositive.news and Mount Carmel Baptist Church. Up in White House. Is it a White House
Cross
address?
Plains address.
Cross Plains address.
It's in the little 8-mile stretch that gets Cross Plains city limits. So.
So it's a Cross Plains address.
It's right on the border.
What else do we need to cover from Stay Positive? Continually inviting everybody to check it out and to follow and all the things.
One of the things that is new, Miss Mabel did get sponsored recently. I don't know if you saw this, but Connie Worley, who is a real estate advisor over at 615 Real Estate Advisors, has become the sponsor of Miss Mabel. So some fun little facts there. If you don't know Connie, she's a sweet woman. And I think we're doing a magazine collab with White House Chamber. And so looking at the article is called A Boutique Vision. And just kind of looking at more of the boutique and small business shops in around White House. So really kind of some neat things there that are happening, which is really cool. And a little fun partnership with the White House Chamber. So that's really exciting. We also announced yesterday that there is a new member to the Stay Positive team. Although she's been around for a while, she's now coming on staff,
Okay.
which is really exciting. So,
Is that Kristen?
Kristlyn Mercer,
Okay.
yeah, and she is. I think has she come on with you before? Yeah.
Oh, I love her. She's adorable.
She's the new partner development coordinator.
Okay.
So
Very cool.
it's really exciting for us as a team, to have more people who are serving and see Stay Positive grow in a way that, we have the opportunity for that.
And I love her story because she's so young. And I've used
Yeah,
her
she's
story
it's
a
funny.
few times.
We
My kiddos at school, I've told them about her.
yeah,
Yep.
we not to interrupt, but we were sitting in the room together, I don't know, probably 2 months ago, all the writers, they had a little writers and just partner days, and she was in there, and I had made a comment about, I think I'm the youngest person in here, and then she's like, nope, I'm younger than you, and I'm like, you're right. So now I get to not be the youngest person in the room. So
I love it.
But-
I love it. But she it's so interesting, and I love her story because I tell my kids, because I'm a career and technical education teacher. I'm in that genre. And so my job is to help the kids see the possibilities beyond high school. If you want higher education, by all means, go for it. But if you've got something you're passionate about that you don't necessarily have to go to college for, have a fire in your belly for it. And that's what Kristlyn did.
Yeah.
And she may have even gone on to college. I can't remember, but she was doing in high school, she was like babysitting, and then people say, well, can you pet sit? Well, sure. Well, can you go pick up my groceries? Well, sure. And she just was like, well, yeah. Everybody just kept giving her all these job ideas. Like, well, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Yeah. And then before long, she had so many people wanting her to do stuff, she needed to bring on help. And she's got employees. The next thing she knows, she's out of school. And before she knows it, she's got a business.
yeah,
And a great business model. And I just love her story.
yes,
She's just rocking and rolling. And I mean, she's just a youngin'. And way to go. But I love her. If you have a work ethic and a desire, you can do anything, guys. You can do
and
anything.
she's got some
Sky's the
energy
limit.
too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
bringing
got
the
the
energy
energy
is good, and so
Yep.
yeah, it's a good team that we got with
Yes, you
over
do.
there, and
But yeah, I
and
love Kristlyn. She's a good addition.
they're Donnie and I hold down the male side. A lot of great females over there. So but
Well, you got Mr. V.
yes,
Chris
yes,
Valance.
Chris too.
Yeah, you got
Yes,
another
the
dude in
editor,
there.
the editor in chief of. He is he's a quiet strength in our community, but man, he's fun. I love Chris, and Chris and I, we found, what, this is the coolest part about Robertson County, right? Is that you start to find out you're more connected than you think. Even though we got no family here, we got nothing. We moved to Robertson County not knowing that Cross Plains was between Bowling Green and Nashville, and my wife was looking at Western Kentucky at the time, and but over time, we started to learn, oh, well, we got a lot of connections. So Chris's niece, Ava, was in our youth group, and know the Lasser family on the other side just through all of that. So Chris is a great guy. I love Chris, and he helps hold down the fort and does a really good job editing. And some of us need some help editing sometimes, including me. So
He's one of our English teachers
yes,
at Greenbrier.
I knew that was a big leap too to
Yeah.
come and do that. So
Well, he says that the reason what got him interested in it is he interviewed myself and my husband about they did a Stay Positive News on us because we say we retired into teaching. We
Yeah.
did. We retired from our other careers and didn't want to really retire and have always thought about teaching. And it's just the way the Lord opened the doors is just breathtaking. And I just told him, I said, I just highly recommend it. Next thing I know, he's doing it. And I said, but Chris, you're teaching English. That's a tested subject. I'm teaching audio video production. I'm like, I get to do the fun
I get to
stuff.
do the fun stuff.
And
Yeah.
my husband's doing criminal justice. And to go into a subject that is a tested subject, oh my goodness, sir, that's a lot. And he's doing it very well.
Yeah.
And we're so excited. But Mr. V is what they call him.
Mr. B.
Mr. V.
Chris has been with
And,
Stay
he's
Positive
awesome.
since the beginning too.
Yeah, he really
he's
has.
got he usually gets a few articles here and there, but he's editing every single one and does a good job with it. So
Wow, that's amazing,
Yeah.
especially with him teaching.
yes, he is it's quite the
That's
task.
a lot, Chris. Wow, because I mean he's having to read all those kids' work too.
Yeah.
You know,
And
yeah, that's a
there's
struggle.
times, I mean, they've given us some tools to help with editing to try to make his job a little bit easier, but there's times where it's like, and
bet.
here's the markup. So, yes, I always enjoy what Chris sends back, but there's times where I'm like, really? Can you be nicer to me? No, I'm just kidding. He's super kind. So
That's funny. That's funny. You know, editors. I'm a writer, and
Yeah.
so editors, you need them. You gotta have them, but sometimes they break your heart.
yes, I'm going through a significant editing process right now. I was writing a curriculum on the Ten Commandments, and it's getting published here in a couple weeks. But that was probably the biggest writing task that I've taken on, and now it's going through the editing process. And let's just say they definitely like editing. So
Are you doing it through
Yeah, it's-
Harvest?
no, I'm doing it through a national group called Youth Pastor Theologian. So
That's very
yeah.
cool.
So the first curriculum was on the Apostles' Creed, and it's sold very well and internationally. So it's very exciting that
That's
the
awesome,
pre-orders
man.
for the Ten Commandments are up there. So we're looking forward to it. So it's
Ooh,
a
I'd
really
love to
new, unique
see
opportunity.
that.
Yeah.
It's
So
called what? How can I
it's
get
gonna.
this?
So if youth pastors or anybody wants to see it, because it's made for youth leaders, no matter what involvement or education level they are, it's made for youth leaders. And so if you go to youthpastortheologian.com, that's where all that information will be. And it's under curriculum. There's a tab under there, and you can kind of see it's forthcoming. Our goal is to have it out by the end of this month. So yeah.
I'm excited about that.
That's the biggest
really
writing
cool.
project that I've done, but it's really neat. So I have the manuscript on my desk, and we're finishing up some of that. So
The
yeah.
Apostles' Creed. I'm very curious.
Yeah,
about
that one.
too.
Yeah, so they're $100, so it's super accessible for any youth leaders.
Tell me how that one came about.
yeah,
That's
so I
interesting.
mean,
So
I
wanna
that's
know
where
the
my
backstory on that.
that's where my writing began was with. So actually, my writing began years ago. I was a 14-year-old credentialed in sports media, which was a really neat thing. But
That's cool.
yeah, so that's where I thought I wanted to be a sports journalist, a sports broadcaster. I know you have mentioned before, oh, you kind of have a broadcasting voice. It's been worked on a little bit, and it depends. 7 a.m. may not be my most broadcasting voice, but I have an announcer's voice
can
that I
do
can
it.
summon.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I did that and just loved writing, was a big creative, and then spent a year in media with actually a really unique campaign in Missouri that celebrated the bicentennial. So
Okay.
my full-time job was writing, content production, all of that.
Sorry, I just
You're
all of a
good.
sudden-
Hearing myself now, and
go.
and so I knew when I got into or when I was called to ministry that I still wanted to write, and so started to write a little bit more, and did a lot of blog posts, and have had things on like Baptist Press and a site called For the Church, which is a more kind of academic site, and then Youth Pastor Theologian came along, which was kind of the vision behind that was like, hey, youth ministers, we are theologians too. We're studying God, and so we want to help you do that. And they started in late 2022, I think, is when their kind of big push began. And so wrote for them, and got to know Mike McGarry, who owns the company, and went ahead, and he and I had a conversation about the curriculum, and he's like, I'd love for you to write this, and sent me his ideas, and we started to get some things on paper, and then hit the process hard over the summer, and then now in the kind of the final days of it. So that's the long story short, but I write some blog posts there, and usually once every 2 months I'll have something from there, and and that's where the Stay Positive thing came along too, as I kind of connected with Rachel, and I had known Sarah from working in youth ministry in this area. Her husband Jason is the youth pastor at Temple. And so, when they were like, hey, we're looking for writers, I was like, well, I'm finishing up my MDiv, and I'm going to have a little extra time. And I'd always, that's it.
Oh,
So
I'm looking here at your stuff.
yeah, so a couple other, actually two other Tennessee guys wrote those other two. So Andrew Slay, he wrote the Apostles' Creed one, and he's down in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Okay.
And then Chris Talbot is a professor at Welch College, wrote the Lord's Prayer. So
So I thought you did the
no,
Apostles'
I
Creed
did the
one.
Ten Commandments one. So
Oh, okay. I thought you said you did the Apostles' Creed, and so I was
is,
like, what?
Yeah.
I want to hear about that. Okay,
No,
I got
so
you. I'm with you now.
apologize for that, but no. Yeah, so those are
Okay.
and then the Ten Commandments, like I said, it should be available here in the next couple weeks. So
Awesome.
$100
That is
for
so
youth leaders.
cool.
Again, that's and if $100 is a something that we can always help with that too. But yes, so
Okay.
because we have people who are buying extra copies of that to, give to a church maybe that can't afford it. But $100 is very affordable for
Yes, it is.
curriculum, and so yeah, it's a really neat thing. And
Cool.
so it was a fun project. It's a 12-week curriculum on the Ten Commandments, and I learned a lot. And as I was walking through the commandments, I'm like, wow, I'm not doing this one very good, So,
That's wild.
but-
I think that's going to be fascinating.
Yeah,
Very cool,
so-
Nick. I love this. I mean, we're just getting all kinds of backstory on you
yeah,
today.
yeah,
That's why I love having this time to sit down and really talk to folks and get to know
yeah,
them.
and I had mentioned to you the last time that we were on that we had a podcast too. One of my youth
Right,
leaders and I
right.
started a podcast,
How's
so
that
we're
going?
it's going well. We're about 11 episodes in. We've been talking about pretty much everything we talk about on Wednesday nights, and it's called the Halfway There podcast. So
Okay.
25-minute episodes you can listen to in the car or somewhere else, and find it on Spotify, Amazon,
Mhm.
Apple, whatever. Just
Mhm.
make sure that you add the halfway there, because if not, you'll end up with a true crime podcast. That's not ours. So
Okay.
but it's a really unique thing. I love being a creative. I think if my call to ministry usurps all of it, but if I wasn't,
Yeah.
I would be definitely doing a lot more creative kind of work in that. So yeah, I could do it on the side though.
Exactly. That
for-
honestly and truthfully, that's one of the big conversations I have with a lot of my kiddos in audio and video. I said, the hard truth of it is that everything that we do in video and audio production is so competitive. There's so many people
Mhm.
wanting those jobs, and it touches every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
And there are some amazing jobs out there. I mean, there's some amazing gigs out there if you can get them.
Yeah.
But you've got to be prepared for a very competitive field. You've got to be prepared for being an independent contractor 9 times out of 10. You've got to be prepared for travel.
Yeah.
All these things, if you can handle that, you can work yourself into a really interesting, fascinating career. But you can also do this on the side and be an engineer or be a pastor or be a teacher and have all the enjoyment of those things that you love to do and have a solid way to make a living, have a family. In the audio video world, and it's hard on families. One of the most exciting things I got to do is when I worked for the Blaze down in Texas, but it took me out of it. I was
Yeah.
gone my youngest child's senior year. I mean, I was here for the big things, and he turned 18 in the middle of it. I mean, he was grown.
Yeah.
But still, that's what I regret so much, missing so much of that time with him that last year at home. And his dad was here, but it just is not the same.
Yeah.
And you think about the things, and I'm so thankful that I wouldn't have, had it not gotten structured the way it was for me, I would have gone a different path in a career, because I just I couldn't have done it when my kids
Yeah.
were little. So there's a lot of options out there to get involved with creative writing, with audio and video and all these things, but you do have to make a living. And so,
Yeah.
I hats off to you for answering the call that God's put on your life, that the Lord's put on your life. But keep this other stuff going,
Yeah.
because you're good at it.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
know, so-
and that would be my encouragement for young people is, like, if you feel like you have something to say, find a place to say it.
Yeah.
And, more doors open as you continue to do that. I mean, that's just the reality of, and be honest and say yes. And if you have to say no, say no. So that's, but there are places out there that will take, if as they're growing, they'll grow with you, and you guys will partner together. And that was the thing with Youth Pastor Theologian, is that it started small and, grew into same thing with Stay Positive News, right?
Yeah.
I kind of tacked on at the at May of 2024, so it's been about a year and a half. and they were already known, but that was kind of the big turn towards like, wow, now we have half-time, part-time staff members, now we have full-time staff members.
Yeah.
And so they're continuing to grow in some awesome ways, and it's neat to be a part of those things. That's what you got to be looking for, is the small things to be able to do. And if you have young people that want to send some stories in, we'd love to share them.
And I know that Mr. V, Chris, he talks to the kiddos about that too, because we do have aspiring writers, and it's just getting them to sit down and use the discipline to sit down and write.
And nobody goes back and looks at those things later in life, because my sports blog you can find it on the Wayback Machine, but let's just say that I don't like reading that writing of me when I was 14, but I was doing it. That's the reminder.
That's the reminder. That's just it, that you were doing it and you were putting yourself out there, and that's what you got to do, is just put yourself out there and see what you can do. Yeah. We need to pause and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. I forget to share their listings. Sometimes they'll pop up, and since I'm not buying a house, I'm not selling anything right now, but I want y'all to see some of these great properties. So I'm going to try to be more diligent on my social media page about sharing some of these great properties. There's one up here on Oak Grove Church Road up in Adolphus, Kentucky, guys, and you're going to find a lot more home for the money across the state line. When you're right here in Tennessee, guys, it's just expensive. Right here around Kentucky, right here around Nashville, it's amazing. I got something in the mail the other day telling me how much equity I had in my place, and I was like, what? I was stunned at the way the property values are going up. And so because of that, if you need to buy in Kentucky, they can help you navigate the waters there. I'm originally from Kentucky. I'm from West Kentucky. Y'all were talking about West Kentucky, but Barry and Rebecca, they're from Kentucky, and so we understand. Yeah, there's a state income tax there. They're supposed to be cutting it to some degree though, but there's a state income tax in Kentucky. So if you're going to live in Kentucky and work in Tennessee, you've got to figure that income tax in your bottom line. You're going to have to look and say, okay, that's going to affect how much home I can ultimately buy if I've got my state income tax coming out. Even though I'm working in Tennessee, I got to consider that. And so being from Kentucky originally, they can help you navigate those waters. They're cross-Plainians, though. They've been here 30 years, got to Robertson County about the same time I did. This is home. So they specialize in
donated a smart car to the Cross Plains PD.
No, wasn't that fun? I know.
Chief. So Stan goes to our church, and he and I joked one time that we should do a high-speed chase in his a low-speed chase in a smart car.
That's fun.
A 30-mile-per-hour beat.
That's great, and I know, and I love it. They've driven one around forever to promote the realty company, and so it's just it's a novelty and it's fun. And they did, to commemorate that 30-year mark that they made in Cross Plains. They donated that little smart car, and it's just a lot of fun. That's how they love on the community. I was talking with Sean Elmore on Monday about all that Barry does for the videography to promote Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center, and he just pours into that. He and Rebecca, they were at the White House event this past weekend. So there's tons of stuff they're doing. I think one of the things I shared was Rebecca when they gave away a Yeti cooler from that event. So they always have some big giveaway if you come by and talk to them. But if you see them out like that, come and sit down and talk with them. Maybe you want a free market analysis just to see how much value your property has. Maybe you're really thinking about moving and you want to throw a few zip codes out there and just kind of see what the property's going for. How much home can you buy? Rebecca will make sure, if you're a serious buyer, what do you qualify for? How much home can you buy? You're going to have to get pre-qualified. That's one of the first things that they're going to have you do. Barry is a broker. He's here in Springfield. She has her agency office up in White House, and together they make up Exit Prime Realty. Just Google them, Exit Prime Realty, Barry Richards, Rebecca Richards. You'll find web pages. You'll find social media pages. And if you would like to just give them a call, you can do that as well. Rebecca's number is 615 504-7424. Or no, actually, I think that's Barry's number. That's Barry's number. 615-504-7424. Rebecca's number is 615-504-7425. 615-504-7425. So they're pretty close if you want to get in touch with them. Get in touch with one, you're going to get in touch with the other. Google them, reach out to them today. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. let them know U-Turn sent you when you talk to them. Nick, what else you got to cover before we wrap it up? We're just down to the wire here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on, and I know
It's always
that
fun.
our Stay Positive team really enjoys the chance to be with you, and so it's always fun to get to know you and be around. So
Well, same here, and always fun talking with you. And why don't you invite them to church?
yeah, absolutely. If you're looking for a
Because
place to
tonight-
go,
Yeah.
yeah, tonight's Wednesday. I got a long day ahead of me. Had a good day yesterday. I got to play in a pastor's golf tournament at Heritage. That's what the worship classic was. But
Fun.
no, tonight is church. Go somewhere. If you don't go to Mount Carmel, that's okay. But go somewhere. Most churches start around 6:30. Look somewhere near you. That was my big thing. And if you need help finding that somewhere, you can reach out to me. But if you are kind of Cross Plains area, come and join us tonight. Mount Carmel Baptist Church, 7109 Highway 25 East, Cross Plains, Tennessee, and we start at 6:15. If you come at 6, that's fine. And we have kids, students, and adults. So for this week, next week's fall break, so we're off, but we'd love for you to join us this week.
I love it. And if you're up in the Madison area, you can come join us at Madison Church of Christ. I am part of the Celebrate Recovery program, so come and see us in the downstairs, and we'll feed you even at 5:45. But that's a place you can go in Madison, and they've got stuff going on throughout the building for, again, all ages. And so just find a church. It used to be Wednesday night, everybody went to church, and now it's kind of become an oddity.
Yeah.
And that's when our youth groups thrive. That's when our youth groups really kind of get some skin in the game. And that's, man, get your kids somewhere tonight in a vibrant youth program and just really see how
all I'm hearing is encouraging things around the county, around the state, around the country. So yes, get involved because now's the time to do it.
Absolutely. Lee Marie's on her way in for another full hour of local programming with The Go Show. We love our sweet friend Lee Marie. Go see her at Well in the Square. They had their big ribbon cutting this past week. So go and see her. And she's got another, again, full hour of local programming coming up right next here on 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a wonderful day.